All right, so today I am joined by PFL light heavyweight finalist Impa Kasanganay, who's coming off a big TKO win, and now he's got a championship bout against Josh Silveira on November 24th for the PFL World title and $1 million grand prize. What's going on, Impa? How are you, man?
Hey man, how you doing? I'm great. Thanks for having me on, Jacob. I'm loving life, man. I'm loving life. I'm back in town. Was training throughout the past couple weeks. I looking forward to claiming this victory in the title fight, first one. Was at the Bellator fights this past week. I didn't stay through the fight. I helped my teammate out a little bit, and throughout the fight week, and then now I'm on my way to the corner another fight. So I'm active. I'm active.
Nice. Do your boys always hit you up for that? Like they're always trying to get you to corner them for their fights and stuff like that, for the smaller promotions, maybe?
Some do. I have my own
Yeah.
business called Impa's Refinery, so I work with other fighters too. So I want to help, people who want anybody who wants to train in general, but also fighters, like details or things I feel and see in MMA that would help. And one of the guys, Joe Diamond's fighting tonight. One of my best friends and training partners, Aaron Jeffery. We talked about it
Yeah.
before I even had my last fight, and we fought back-to-back weeks. And I said, hey, I'll come out for years after I get my victory. So got the victory and want to go back out and help my bro. So yeah, people have asked me over time. I think I'm starting to corner more and more. At the same time, with the PFL season is going on, I don't really have much time to go other videos. I usually go with Delano because it's usually my recovery period. But yeah, I used to corner a lot though. I used to corner a good amount, but not as much as I used to anymore.
Okay. Is that business you have kind of to help people get started in fighting? Because it's expensive, right?
Yeah. So I have
Yeah.
like a couple portions to it, right? And so if I work with fighters, want to help them. So it's very like one-on-one. If you want to break down film, if you want to um, improve your striking, work up on the ground, everything I feel in MMA. Since I'm kind of newer to MMA, training over the past almost 5 years now. There are certain things I feel like I picked up that maybe somebody didn't have with the traditional background. So it helps. And then yeah, anybody who wants to train in general, it's like, hey, they're kind of interested in MMA or they like martial arts and want to get better at boxing, kickboxing. They want to work on their self-defense, and like that's what an awareness of. That's where I focus on and helping the person become the best version of themselves.
Okay, that's dope. Like, do they pay for that, or how does it work to kind of sign up with you to get started if somebody was interested?
Yeah, so it's one-on-one sessions. They sign up, set the rate, and then keep them going. Depending on what they want and what they're looking for, the rate will change. If they want to learn. We'll talk about the rate there. And then if they want to do it like as kind of like a hobbyist and still work, we'll work that rate as well.
Okay, so nice. You got something going on when you're done with fighting. You got a business that's already kind of like you're building on the side.
Yeah,
So I heard you over at Bellator. Your boy Aaron Jeffery just got a hell of a win last night.
yeah.
Were you able to hang out with him afterwards and spend some time with him, or did you just have to fly out of there as soon as the fights ended?
I didn't go see the fight. So a few of my teammates, we had like 7 guys fight, but
Oh yeah,
I went to really go. Yeah, I went there to go assist him in any way that I could. I needed a broad training partner. He and I trained a bunch when we were down in Kill Cliff when he comes down to South Florida. So, he helped me a lot for my last fight and fights that we've ever trained together for. And then now I get to be here with him on this one. And what do you say? Yeah, he means a lot to me. He's one of my best friends. So I wanted to go out there and support him as much as I could. So I came in. It was like Tuesday, moved around with him for the week, fight morning, and then right after he had his morning shakeout, I got on a plane and headed back home. So, but I was so happy. Right when pretty much a little bit right after I landed, when I got like home and settled, that's when I found out he won. So it was cool. Like he was like, so he did his thing. So I was pretty happy about that.
okay, yeah, that was sick. How did you guys develop such a good friendship? Because both of you guys seem to always shout each other out whenever you get a chance.
Yeah, we so he came down to Kill Cliff. I want to say it was Sanford at the time. Uh, and we were training, and I know he fought a couple guys. I think he fought Brendan Allen, some other people, but he fought Brendan Allen. But we started training, and he's got a good heart, and he grinds. He's a grinder. He's one of the best training partners, maybe the best training partner I've ever had. Like he really, really pushes. Like he's down to fight, down to scrap. When I fought at 85, we're both fighting at 85 together. So it's like our we're not that far off in weight. So we push each other, but he always wants to do the extra work. He always wants to meet up. He's willing to drive you, obviously down from Canada, but we've gone down to DK Fitness together and worked on things with Coach Dieter. He's very professional, man. He's a good heart, good guy, and man, it's cool when you have somebody like that. So it's like natural. Like I want to push the pace, he wants to push the pace. We challenge each other to do better. There's no bad blood ever. So it's like when we became bros, you know, like we hung out 4th of July, get dinner. Like you don't always meet people like that who have such good hearts and want to train and be real about life. So I would say that's the reason. You know, just kind of met on the training grounds, and then after that, build into a brotherhood.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because he's only been there for about like a year or so, and you guys seem to got a close relationship. But it sounds like you said, he puts in a lot of extra work, and he seems to be calling you, so you guys kind of work out together on the side too, huh?
Yeah. It's one of those guys like really iron sharpening iron. Like, he helped bring the best out of one another. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, he's a good guy in the sport. I've never met him in person, but I've interviewed him a bunch of times, and just through like our conversations, he's a good guy, even keel guy, mellow guy, but he's a really good guy. I could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I want to get into your life a little bit, man. Just like kind of your early upbringing and stuff. Are you from the Congo, or where are you from exactly?
My parents are from Congo. I was the first person in my family
Okay,
born stateside or outside of Congo. So
gotcha.
my parents came here, I want to say a little over 30 years now. And, well, yeah, definitely over 30 years, but maybe closer to 40 now years been in the United States. But, yeah, I'm grateful and I'm proud to be Congolese. I always carry the Congolese flag inside of my American flag. But I was born in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale. Grew up all
Okay.
around South Florida, from Okeechobee in the countryside to Boynton Beach, a little beach town, and Lake Worth, you know, a little closer to like Wellington, which is like a little horse area, not horse country, but pretty strong equestrian area. Then when I was 12, turning 13, I moved to North Carolina, and a lot of my life was there through like the last couple months of middle school, high school.
You said equestrian. Sorry, it cut out just a little bit towards the end.
Oh yeah, so sorry, yeah. So Lake Worth was like near this town called Wellington, which is kind of known for like equestrianism, and people are just getting in, you know, horse country, not horse country. Horse country is Ocala, but a lot of people, you know, have like stables and stuff like that near there. So kind of near where I grew up. And then after that, I moved to North Carolina and like Mint Hill area, countryside, and then Charlotte, which is just like a southern city. But
Okay, when did you move to South Carolina? When you were like an adult at 18 or younger?
no. When I was 12, we moved to North Carolina, and that was
Oh, north.
finishing up middle school. So then finished middle school, started high school there, and then college and all that stuff. You know, I traveled around a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I noticed that. So there was no fighting in your life probably up until after you finished college, or what was the deal with that? Because you have like 3 degrees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't grow up doing sports. I played football my senior high school, and I played in college. Then after college, I started training martial arts, and about 24 years old. But I studied accounting, so I have a business administration degree in accounting, and then I have an accounting degree and a finance degree. So, yeah, we're definitely looking to continue my education here soon. Waiting, you know, hear back from schools and do some more applications. But I'd like to get my master's and my CPA. So, focus on
Okay.
that. Yeah.
What made you want to do accounting?
I didn't want to do it at all at first, actually. It's my African
Oh,
parents.
really?
My parents are like, you are doing accounting. My first major in college is actually music. And I went to
Okay.
like vocal performance and like orchestra and all that, but it wasn't not accepted, but it wasn't allowed, I guess you'd say. Like my parents wanted me to do something they feel like anywhere in the world I could get work and never have to, like, you know, struggle. Then I became a fighter. But
Yeah.
but they got me into it, and now I really enjoy it. I'm part of this company also. Like another work that I do is with Live Wealth Group, and it's financial planning, life insurance, tax mitigation, consulting, and I'm director of athlete relations. So that keeps me active and, you know, working with like helping athletes and people in general, businesses, small businesses, any person you name it, helping them create the best financial picture for their life. So grateful to be a part of that, and so I stay pretty active. So I gotta go put the accounting to use, but it became something I never wanted to do, then after some time, it became something I'm like, you know what, I could use this to help other people and myself. So
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to piece it together and just correct me if I'm wrong. So what happened? Like you graduated, you started actually working in accounting, right? And then you kind of still didn't like it, so you quit and tried to pursue fighting. And once you started fighting, you're like, shit, this might actually be a good thing to have in my back pocket.
right, yeah. Well, I mean, I got
Yeah.
so broke at one point, like I made some really stupid business decisions. I guess you could say, not even like bad, just real stupid, and lost a
Hmm.
lot of money. And for relatively speaking, at the time for my life, so it was like, oh, it became a struggle. Like I talked about after my last fight, like pretty much thought I had more money than I ever had, and then I had barely anything. And I was sleeping in my car, then my teammate's place, and then super grateful um, that I was able to move onto a farm, and that was like a joy. But it wasn't not it just wasn't not easy. That's not the word. It was like, oh, dude, I just what the heck. And then I was like, well, you have an accounting degree. Why don't you just go back and get an accounting job? Eventually, I started talking to Alan Diamond, the CEO of Live Wealth, and I got this opportunity to work, and my life has been pretty blessed since. So, um, can you see me? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
better now.
Okay. So I was like, I hit something on my phone. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I'm grateful, man. Like life's coming full circle, and things keep getting better and better. I like focus on my obedience and my faith, and I'm loving life.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. And okay, so also you said how you were living in your car and shit. So that's true, huh? You were homeless for a little bit, maybe
But
after you got released from UFC?
yeah, it was not really just released from the UFC. It was the UFC. That was fine a little bit because I had some money saved up, but it just started
Uh-huh.
wading away. And then I was like, okay. And then I was doing this like executive protection job and uh, all that stuff. But they wanted me to pick between that and fighting, and that was the agreement when I first started because it's not like bodyguard work or bouncing. It was pretty like high speed stuff. So it was pretty solid money. At the same time, they wanted all my time, and
Mm.
that's not the case. So I walked away. I was like, guys, no. Like I know I'm called to fight. I'm patiently waiting for the next one, and impatiently at times too. And I still had clients, and I still do that, but I didn't want to waste my money because I didn't know what the next fight was going to be. So I was like, whatever. Like parked in the gym parking lot. I had my motorcycle and my bike. I'd wake up in the morning. I'd go shower at the gym, train, go back, ride my motorcycle around for a while, come back at night, and yeah. I mean, it's funny. It's not. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't like glorious. I think I had a solid attitude about it. That's maybe what helped. But um, I was patiently waiting. I knew I couldn't go back to North Carolina. I knew I couldn't. Like I knew why I came down here, and also, um, like I didn't just come to Florida for nothing. So it was like be patient, stick through it, get better. I mean, it helped me because I would go hit the bag in the mornings. I would go train. I didn't have really far to go when I wanted to wash my
Yeah,
clothes.
seriously.
Whenever I need to wash my clothes, I just go by this laundromat, and I was good. And my favorite Irish pub is right there, so I just go chill, get fish and chips. So like, I was good, but it wasn't the best situation, obviously. I knew I could take care of myself, like I could protect myself, all that stuff. But it was interesting. And then one day, Henry, who was my coach, was like, I don't think I didn't tell anybody. So he just walked by, and the security that patrols the gym was like, hey, there's somebody in the car. And yeah, he contacted one of my teammates, Marquez, who's an amazing guy. And I showed at his house, was on his couch for a while, living a lavish life with AC. And then I won a fight. I fought Jared Gooden. A couple weeks later. And then things started taking off. Then I was waiting for a while, and I was on the farm and all that. So, like it was kind of like a cool time to be isolated when I look back on
Yeah.
it. If you say, do you want to go through it again and revisit that? No. But I'm grateful for that time.
You wouldn't go through it again. Sometimes I've heard people say like, "Shit, I'd do it again," but you're
Yeah,
like,
people say they
"Nah."
go through it again, and I really question them. Like, you say you go through it again, how bad was it? I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. Like, I'm fine. I'm grateful for everything I learned from it. The lessons I might have missed during then, okay, but like I'm good. I'm good. I go
Gotcha.
back
And
to the
a
farm.
few things. Sorry,
Sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go. What you say?
Okay. So you said you had a bike, but did you have a car at all that you were able to like sleep in with like a roof?
What, what,
Can you hear
sorry,
me?
the roof. What about the roof? You said?
Oh, did you like? Because you said you had like a bike, but did you have a car, something like with a roof over your
Oh
head?
yeah. I have a motorcycle and a
Okay,
car at the time, so it
gotcha.
was just like yeah. So I had the car and then the motorcycle, but my motorcycle was my favorite thing in the world. So I was like, I'm not letting this go. So I
Yeah,
just parked on the other side of my my car, and it was my bike and my car and I. And but yeah, I had like a little SUV, so it's keeping me protected, kind of like this one I'm driving right now. But it was a lot bigger, so I could turn the back kind of like it wasn't really a bed. I had so much of my stuff in there that I would just like sometimes sleep in the front seat, or I turned the back into a really cool bed. But I didn't want to get too comfortable and not wake up before practice, so I was like, this would be weird. So it was fun.
yeah,
It's like kind of living off the grid in a way. So.
yeah. And then I saw you also kind of like, I don't know if this was when you hit the farm at that point, but I saw some videos of you like showering with a hose and stuff. Like, is that just like after
Yeah,
workout, or is that how like your life was for a little bit?
yeah, but that was by choice. So the farm wasn't like life was
Okay,
actually
okay,
pretty solid by the time I got to the farm, and
okay,
I was making money. I could have got an apartment, but I chose and wanted to live off grid, and I really still learning, still consistently learning. It's so cool. Like after my last fight, I guess some news got around, but a farm in Claremont, Florida, reached out and said, "Hey, we heard you want to learn about farming." But I was living on the farm, and I still have my spot on the farm too. I'm not there all the time now, but it's called Soul City Farm. It's west of Doral, Florida, near Miami. And this Matt Santos and his wife are super cool. Yeah, I had a trailer on the farm, and then I kept telling him like, I want to be off grid. I want to be off grid. Like I want to learn what it's like to live off the grid. So we built a yurt, which is like a glorified, awesome tent, and I
okay.
moved into the forest, and we put like an outdoor shower. I trained outdoors. I didn't get it like grown closet, but I was for this fight too. Like I'll be there a few times because they just like they kind of keep throughout the year and live that at all times. Like I just love being in nature. We had the pythons out there. You know, kill pythons. You had coyotes come sometimes, but then you have the cows and the chickens. We had sheep at a point, bees. We have to start harvesting vanilla beans, and I just I wanted to simplify things. You know, like I won a fight that I was told that I lost, like when I was on the Eagle card. So like I was like, kind of wondering what direction my career was going, and took inspiration from a great coach, a wrestling coach, who I've never met yet. But funny enough, he coached one of my teammates, Jordan Oliver, who also won on the Bellator card. But his name is John Smith. He's an Oklahoma State wrestling coach, amazing wrestler too. And
Of course, yeah.
so what was interesting about that was there's a speech and interview. Sorry, more so than speech, an interview, and I heard that one after I had a kidney failure once, and it was just about like how he let everything go, lived up at that time. It was like $1,000 a month, everything included, lived close to campus, and simplified everything. And he dove so deep into the process, he created something new. And that I've listened to that interview, I don't know how many times, over and over and over again. And I thought that would be the answer. Like focus on my faith, focus on my training, and do what I love, be in nature. So talked to Matt. He's awesome. Built the yurt, let the trailer go, gave it to some of the farm hands, and I started living the off-grid life, and it was awesome. So built we have one of the farm hands actually has a civil engineering background, so helped build like an outdoor shower, and man, like there's nothing like it. Nothing like it. I tell people I have a $20 million, $80 million mansion one day. Great. I have a yurt. I'm at peace. But it was nothing like waking up, you hear the animals, going to sleep, you hear the animals, you don't know what's crawling by. Like I love being in nature, so it was a good time.
Yeah, I like nature too, bro. And couple things. How long were you homeless before you went into the farm, and then how long were you staying at the farm for?
So the car was probably, let's see, def it was like end of February, early March of, I guess it was last year. Last year, yeah, last year.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it was so long ago now, but yeah, last year.
Crazy.
Right, yeah. When I think about it, I'm like, whoa. Last year, and that was until the summertime, like maybe till like June. So February, March, April, May, June, 5 months, 6 months almost. 5 months-ish. And then I was at Marquez's place, my teammates, for about 2, and then I was at the farm for quite almost a little over a year. Now, you know, if like the weather was really, really bad, like it was flooding or something, I go to my teammates and friends' houses, and then I ended up now in a place in Delray Beach, like a house and stuff. So things are pretty good.
So you got onto the PFL Challenger Series, right? You weren't exactly like given a spot in this light heavyweight tournament, so you fought your way to the championship. So how did you get this opportunity in the PFL to get onto the Challenger Series?
Mm-hmm. So sorry, say that again about the Challenger Series.
Okay, so you got the opportunity to come on Challenger Series. You weren't like a fighter when the season started, right? To be a part of this 205 tournament. So how did you get onto the Challenger Series?
So yeah, I was telling people, I was calling everybody out in the world. I was like, I need to fight. Like, I was offering people. I said, hey, look, I'll fight you in the backyard. I'll fight you in the street. I'll fight you in the gym. I'll put money down, whatever it is. I need fights, and I love to fight, and I'm here. So it became a thing where you're waiting on a fight. And I said, I'll fight any weight class. And word got around. I called out GSP circuit looking for a fight. I won my fight, judge's decision, fan decision, and then when I thought I got the contract to be in the PFL, which in a way I guess I did, God had a plan. But my first fight was actually a showcase fight. And right? I was like, whatever, like, let's go. I knew I was alternate that day, but I was like, hey, whatever, like, I got to fight. I'm here to do my job. This guy's going to stand across the cage. I got to go take him out. Claim that victory. Shout out to Corey Hendricks. Awesome fighter. Taking so much from that fight. And I think he's going to continue to do well. Then a lot of guys failed their drug test in the PFL. I fought Karen in Atlanta. Finished that fight, and I needed to finish. The first round would have clinched me, but I needed to finish to give myself an opportunity to get into the playoffs like I fought on Friday. And then the final, which is November 24th. But so fought Tim, took him down, and then I got.
Okay. So you weren't exactly gonna even get onto the Challenger Series in the first place. It's these drug tests that kind of helped you. The fighters that failed basically kind of helped you get in there.
Yeah. So pretty much the fighters that failed helped me get into the season, and I needed it in order to get to the postseason. Like, for sure, you got to go get a finish in the Atlanta fight, and it ended up working out, and look where we are now.
Yeah. So you fought you're like fighting every other month now, but something that I was thinking in my head is you've been on Contender Series twice. So has that been able to kind of prepare you for the PFL? Because it's one of these formats where you're fighting for something at the end, right? That's not guaranteed. So did that help you at all? Like dealing with nerves and being able to perform like on the night?
Yeah, so I mean, I did good about it. I never look at I never was, I'm going to be able to put on a show. I was like, I want to claim this victory and move forward, right? The first time I fought the Contender Series, though, I was super excited. Oh, the UFC, like a little puppy. And then, second time, I won the fight, and I beat the top prospect, but I didn't get the contract. It's interesting, though. Dana White was like, hey, anybody in any other organization sign this kid, he'd be a world champion one day, top 5 in the world for sure, all that stuff. And then, we're here now. It's cool to look at, right? And, so that really inspired me. Then I kept going. The fights, I think 11 fights dropped out between my second time on the Contender Series and my first fight. So then I had a kidney failure, all this stuff. And then I fought. On the second time on Contender Series, won the contract. Then 9 days later, I made my UFC debut, or issued about the next week or so. And the cool part about that was actually when I fought in the Challenger Series with PFL, it's like I've been there before. And before I even walked out the cage, Eduardo and Ray Sefo, who are awesome. I really enjoy working with them. But hey, can you fight in Vegas? And I was like, yeah, for sure, let's go. I don't know who I was fighting, when I was fighting, what day the fight was, but that's how I got, I knew that I was prepared and ready to go because I've been through a situation like that before.
Yeah, it's like a pressure cooker, and I think if you're not prepared for PFL, if your first time fighting for that $1 million grand prize, things could get to you. But it's
Yeah,
yeah, I was kind of assuming that Contender Series probably got those nerves out of the way for you, so now you're kind of ready to go.
yeah, man. And it's interesting too. I've never been nervous
Yeah,
before a fight. I've never been like gun shy or like even like worried, to go fight or anything. Like I don't get elevated. But what was cool about it is like it's just I have parallels that I can pull from and be like, okay, you're dialed in. You understand, like you can see through the smoke and mirrors. But it was not so much a nerve thing, but it was like just a affirmation, like you know what to do, like you know what to do, but now go do it. And that was cool to make that
right.
agreement with myself, right? So very very happy.
Okay, and then what went behind the decision to fight at 205? Because you've gone from 185, dropped down to 170, now 205. I'm assuming it's because you're fighting often, but you tell me.
Well, it's not a bad assumption at all, but it's also too like I love to
Mhm.
fight, and I don't care what weight
Yeah,
class it is. Like if PFL does 85, go back down, get the 85 title, go back up to the heavyweight title. Like I always have a rule. Like I say, like you care about somebody you love, like a lady in your life, and some guy smacks about or grabs them in an inappropriate way or says something rude. How I think is I'm gonna fight. I don't care what weight class you are, what your experience level is. Like I'm not fighting to compete. I'm not fighting to be like, let's get in a fight. Like I'm going to go take this person out, go kill him, and that's the only thing. So they could be bigger, they could be more skilled, they could have more experience. Like I started been training mixed martial arts for 5 years. I've been pro for 4. You know,
that's
so
crazy.
for me, it's like I've been training. I already know that whoever I fight has more experience than me at all times, pretty much. They've wrestling background, boxing background. They've had this many fights. Like I don't care. Like I will outwork, I'll hustle, I'll fight anybody. So I don't care like the damage, pain, blood, like whatever people like worry about, dying, like that stuff doesn't like it doesn't phase me. It doesn't like I'm not like, oh yeah, I'm trying to be Mr. Tough Guy. No, it's like I know God called me to be there, and like I'm gonna honor God and do my job. So when the weight class decision came, and I was like, I'll fight at 205. But one of my just like, you sure? And people were like, sure, man. Let me get in there. And people don't also realize when I played college football, I was like 245, 235, 230, and then I was also 220. So like, being
Yeah.
at this weight is not like a shocker for me. I mean, I don't really cut weight at all. Like I'm probably like 207 on fight week, 210 at the heaviest, But um, I'm not cutting like 10, 12 pounds right now. I'm down. I'm usually underweight, but I don't care. Like,
Yeah, and then you're full of muscle and energy, right? So I mean, you didn't cut
yeah,
any of that. So I've also heard that
for
the
sure.
lighter weight classes always give like the one weight class below you, like the champion there kind of would always give you the biggest problems if you don't understand what I'm saying. Like uh Islam Makhachev would probably give Leon Edwards the biggest problem. It's like that the guy right below you is they're hard to
Well, I think
challenge, I think. If
Well,
you
I
get
think
what I'm
when you go
saying.
up in weight, yeah, seriously, that's when you go up in weight classes.
Yeah.
Like you'll see, like, especially okay, let's say for me, I went 85, right? And most of my career, most of my fights are 85 or lower weight. Like I see things like heavyweights and these guys, like they're not so much of like a. It's always about being the better fighter, so it's not always the weight to me, but um, big, so they can probably beat that person again. But they're typically faster, sharper. Um, they're used to going with things like that all the time, opposed to somebody who's in a heavyweight class and they kind of ran through people, and you got to be more disciplined at the time to beat that person in a lower weight class. Because they look at Jan Blachowicz versus Adesanya. He
Right.
beat Adesanya. He gave him some trouble, but he did that. Um, Makhachev versus Volkanovski. You're like, okay, like that fight maybe
Yep.
could have went the other way, but still, Makhachev took over. And Volkanovski, I think, is one of the best fighters of all time, or going to be considered one of the best fighters of all time when it's all said and done. Um, but it kind of depends too, because I would want to see like how Ngannou versus who's the light heavyweight champion. I guess maybe
Fury?
Jones, but
Oh, Jones.
Ngannou who?
I thought
Yeah,
you were gonna
Jones.
say
But
Fury,
who's the
but
light
you're saying
heavyweight champion?
Jones. Oh, light heavyweight was Yuri or Jamal Hill.
Yeah, no, Jones. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I want to see how they do versus Blachowicz, and I mean, sorry, versus Ngannou. And I don't think that would be much of a matchup for Ngannou. Like maybe those guys could give some trouble, but I feel like it depends on the fighter. That's what I'm trying to say. So, but I see what you're saying too. I can see where it could be trouble depending on like who you are. But I think maybe 35, 125. Shaw. We've seen Mighty Mouse and Cejudo. So I think the really small weight classes, yeah. But that middle of the tier, I think it's a little bit more very dependent on who the fighter is.
Okay. Yeah, that's understandable. It's all individual and the skill set too. If you got wrestling, striking, wrestling probably translates better than a striker like kind of Izzy and stuff. But have you looked into your opponent at all? Josh Silveira, right?
Yeah, just for he's
Have you been able to study him at all?
Yeah, I mean I've seen him fight live. I've seen him fight on film, and like yeah, like I've had opportunities to study him. Solid fighter, overall solid mixed martial artist. You know, he's had experience and he's kind of grown up in it. So there've been things I got to pick off and watch over time. So and I always thought I'd be fighting him in the going to battle in the championship bout. So yeah, I'm down with him.
Why did you think you were going to end up fighting him? Was there something you saw in him?
The
Because,
matchups,
like,
yeah.
off the picture, he doesn't look like the most, no offense.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
He's yeah, I can see that. I mean, he's a little off the picture. Yeah, the way he looks, I guess you could say. If you look at his dad's build and his build, it's very similar. So it's just like maybe their body type in general. But he's done well in his fights and he's wrestled at high levels, I guess. But so he's kind of just used to that. Like if you look at D.C, you better like, man, this guy can't do much. But yeah, he's done well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So watching the fight, and I thought like the matchups he was having, the way he was fighting, he was close last year, and then he lost, and then. Like there were just things like, and I saw that people that he was fighting too. Like, no, nothing to put Ty Flores down, but I didn't think Ty Flores gave too much trouble at Josh. Delon, well, that fight really didn't get going because Delon got injured right away, right up on that one, and then the fight before that when he fought, I want to say Kai, whoever he fought, I gotta go back and look at it. But when he had that fight, you're like, oh, sorry. When he had that fight, it was very the guy didn't have too much to give him an issue. So it's like the matchups he had were solid, and he definitely took advantage of them. I don't think they were given to him at all. I think he put a game plan together, negated what the guy did well, and executed properly. He's got smart coaches and a good team around him. So that was that, and I think he was motivated. So that's kind of when I started putting like the quick analysis on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just as far as you go, I don't really want to ask you about like game plans for the fight and things like that because things can change. It's a crazy sport. But I'm just curious, what do you think like your X factor is? Like because it seems like you have a different mindset. So going into these fights and stuff, is there something you tell yourself like I just got to be me? Like is there anything you're kind of telling yourself that will be like your ticket to victory in that sense?
Yeah, man. I said it earlier in this conversation. I say like every time it's like honor God and do my job. Like it's a lot bigger than me. It's not so much get the title, get the victory. Like I already know I won. That's that. I fight from victory. So it's like what can I do like to really reflect God's glory and for me like MMA is my ministry, so it's bigger than me. And like you can fight for your family, you can do all this stuff, but even bigger than all of that, like to me, is my faith. And then that helps me love my family better. It helps me do this. And I know I'm called to be here. I work. I can outwork, out-hustle, out-fight anybody in a cage. And that's in any fight. Outside of outside of a cage as well. I'm going to battle. Take this guy out. It's not like, oh, make a sport or I want what you want what I want. No, like it's not that. Like I'm going to take what's mine and take it. So yeah, definitely a mindset. It's also like I have a deep purpose. I have a deep purpose for why I do this, and I'm not here to like play around with people and make it a sport. It's not a sport. You take people's life points away. It's not a sport. So that's how I look at it, and I believe that's carried me through. And it goes. there are layers to that. You know, there's so many layers to it that it wouldn't just strictly, oh, I feel like I'm better. I know I'm where I am, and want to go get this title when it comes victory.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, so another way maybe of asking you this similar question is that there's a lot of people who I believe are out there who want to try to do something, but they have a lot of excuses as to why they can't.
Yeah.
And I think for you, it could have been the same way, like, oh, people have been fighting their whole life. Like, I'm 24 or something like that. Like, like I can't start now.
Yeah.
But what did you tell yourself? Like, how did you like get yourself to go and believe in yourself to go do this and chase a dream at 24 when I think a lot of people would probably not go for it at that point in their life?
For me, it's like, I know I'm called to do this. So having a deep sense for calling whatever it may be. And I think this is maybe, I appreciate the question, by the way.
Yeah.
I think this is the most important part of this interview for me, at least. It's like, when you know you're called to do something, you got to believe it. People are going to call you crazy. People are going to think you're insane. They're going to say, like, why do you train this way? Why do you push yourself? Why would you leave this amazing accounting job when you're making maybe even more than 6 figures now? Why would you, all the opportunities you could have had, because everybody wants to compare you through their lens. And when you think that and you accept their lens, they're really kind of projecting themselves on you, and you think that they're right because they speak maybe with what sounds like conviction, which is just really their doubt being projected onto you. I was never that way. I'm weird, right? Like, I love surfing, I love motorcycles, I like farms, I love hip hop, I love jazz. Like, I'm me. I don't want to be a conformist. I want to truly be a nonconformist. Not trying to be. I'm just into what I love. Like, I love church. I love fighting people. Like, I love going to battle. I love training. I love getting after. But I also really love business. And if I'm going to go for something, I'm going to go for it all the way. And I'm not going to ask people for their opinion to live my life, right? And when I was 24 years old and I knew I was called to fight, I said, okay, I'm going to give myself the absolute best. And I told my parents, I left the accounting job, and I said, hey, if I'm not in the UFC in 2 years, from the time, because that's when I started, I said, if I'm not in the UFC in 2 years, I'll go back, get my CPA, and never look at fighting again. I'll train jiu-jitsu and boxing, and that'll be my hobby. But I asked for that. So, I was willing to sacrifice and let things go. So you're going to have to lose people. You're going to have to let people go. But sometimes God, lets people go, you got to let them walk away. And even, too, something I've dealt with, with relationships or something, something wasn't healthy for me. And sometimes people think, healthy things grow, toxic things do, too. And when I truly realized that I can love people, but I have to also love myself, and even if I care about somebody or something, I can still choose to let it go because I have to completely focus on what I'm called to do and where I need to be. And that alone really, really helped me grow. So when you're wondering and you think you're too old and all that stuff, and you got to accept the facts. I accept the fact that everybody has more experience, but the effort, the work, the attention to detail, the focus, the obsession, the craziness that you have to accept about yourself, and I've accepted about myself and still wanted to dive deeper in. That's what I do. And I know, with faith, with life, with my pursuit, and everything I went through, people were talking about this week, you could have quit after that Buckley fight. Oh, you've been doing this for a little bit. You got to the UFC, pat yourself on the back. But because there's a challenge, that does not mean it's the end. The challenge is probably a comma or a period to that time, but it doesn't mean the story's not still being written. And that's what I would attribute it to. I have a great family who loves me. I had to prove to them and show them that this is what I'm called to do, and they challenged me to do better than it, and now they're all in. And once you show people, right, and if their people aren't with you, they're not with you. That's okay. But I know that God called me to do this, and I said, even if one of my favorites is Psalm 27, and part of it says, even if your mother and father abandon you, mine have not, which I'm grateful for. But some people don't have the best family dynamic. But even if they left me, and they said, we're not going to support you in fighting, I would have still pursued it because I know this is what I'm called to do. So when you have that deep vision inside you and that deep sense of purpose, you go for it, no matter what, and you'll have the right people along the way. Do it with honor, do it with love, and man, I'm here about to go claim this first world title victory. I'm gonna train. I'm gonna ride the motorcycle after the fight, ride it back home to North Carolina from wherever I am. Spend time with my family for a couple of days, and then I'm gonna get back to work the next week. I'll be in the gym. I'll be in the Ludus and getting better because it's it doesn't stop. If I can leave y'all with anything, right? And thank God we actually have a good signal. No. Right?
Yeah.
It's that. Obsessed so deeply that people might see you're crazy. And that's the ones who think you're crazy are the ones who haven't done it for themselves yet. And they look back on their lives. So if people see you as crazy and you're doing the same thing to them, you start advancing. And the people are going to have their opinions, whether they lead you, whether they're around you. But look at yourself and be like, what are they doing? Or what would they have? If they had your focus then, could they do it now? And I believe I'm gifted to fight. So maybe someone's gifted with music, caring about people, teaching children, protecting and serving, being a chef, like whatever that is for you that gets you going. You don't have to have something like I love fighting. I'm so grateful for the attention, like these interviews and this media. And I thank God I get to talk about it. Like I'm very like I'm floored, like when you reach out to me and you're like, hey, you want to talk? I'm like, you want to talk to me? Like, hey, like you sure you want to talk to me? Like you sure you want to talk to me? It's
Of
like, man,
course.
thanks. That means a lot, but it's bigger than me. So like the kids that I train or the clients that I work with in business, the stories I get to tell, like where I was last year, where I am now, man, like I could probably owned a few different parking spots, to sleep in. But it's like I look on it now, like God is good, and if you have something burning deep inside you, I don't care how old you are. Like I'm already thinking, like, what's the next business venture I could take over, and what's the next like thing. So like for me, it's like motorcycle. I want to go all 50 states, rebuild a bike, surf, travel, hunt, run, cultivate, build out a farm, right, and uh, keep trusting like that God has much more for me. So that's what I can definitely tell y'all. I hope that if anything, like I appreciate the support for my fights, but I just want to see y'all. Like if I bump into you and you own your restaurant, I'm eating there one day. Hopefully you say hello. If you don't, I hope that this helps with that because that's all it took. Like
Yeah.
I don't stop. You know.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good answer. And like it's hard. I think a lot of people want to chase something, but then, like I said, they like get overwhelmed with the reasons why they can't. But something I always think of too, like even doing this, it's like obviously you got an Ariel Hawani out there. It's easy to be like, oh, I can't like do this too. But you just, for me, I just say like, you got to start where you start. Everyone's got their own starting point. And then the more consistent you are, you're just going to become better than where you started from. But you have to be consistent and stuff.
100%.
But that's my perspective, and yours. I think yours perspective is great too. Because one thing you said is that like sometimes you gotta leave something to chase like your dream. So a lot of people also have a cushy life, and they don't want to like sacrifice what
Right.
they're going through at that moment for something greater. Yeah.
100%. That's so true that you said. Like, I really agree with the consistency part too. Like,
Hey, got you back.
yeah, we're back now. For sure.
Finally.
I don't know what
Where were
happened.
we?
I don't
I
know.
forget where we left off, but
We were just talking about like being consistent and
yeah,
going with the dreams and how like you can compare yourself to all these different people. You can compare yourself to like Errol Hawani, Joe Rogan. You can compare yourself to John Jones out of sign. You can compare yourself to the billionaire next door. But I always looked at it like churches, man. Like there's one church that touches people and they have 20 members, and there's some that have hundreds of thousands. Like
yeah,
you're doing your job and like when you compare yourself, it kills the content. Like you'd be so like, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. And it's funny enough when I moved on the farm, it was cool because now I learned like one of the biggest lessons I learned being on the farm is to keep things simple. Started saving and growing money, and like I didn't have to be like, oh, I need this apartment. Oh, catch up with this girl. What am I gonna do if I try to bring up somebody to the yurt and want to hang out? Like, how this is gonna like me? You see, my thing is this guy homeless. I'm like, no, I can have an apartment now. A few months ago, I probably couldn't have had an apartment, but I'm very, very happy now. Like, and it's like I'm just living my life because I choose. Like, but you start thinking, why compare yourself, right? Like, then that's
right,
the thing. I didn't worry about that. I was like, man, I love where I am, and it got me time to like isolate myself and just dial in, and it's what I needed before going here. Because now it's like interview, travel, this. Like, if I didn't have like that, I said, go take yourself back to the yurt in my mind. Take yourself back to the farm and keep grinding, keep working. And then you can get a bigger farm, a bigger ranch, thousand acres. But you can, the day I am a multi-billionaire, trillionaire, all that stuff, it doesn't mean I can't go down to like the local burger spot and talk to people like they're people, right? And I'm grateful for that. So don't compare yourself because sometimes like I think God's developing something in you that when you do make it, when your show is all over the world, that you can remember these moments. But I think that's something
yeah,
that's given to you and elevated amongst everybody and you're doing this at like an amazing studio at a high rise and
and you own the whole building, like maybe you don't have any perspective of like the new people coming in and can't connect. So um, I'm grateful.
Yeah, I think that is well said. And also to add to what you said, I think another way of saying it is like comparison's the thief of joy, right? So
That's
like,
true.
yeah, it
Yeah,
takes away your happiness of like your little accomplishments if you're always comparing yourself to someone else. So you
that's
just gotta
real.
be happy with your accomplishments. But I gotta ask, because you put it out there. So did you ever bring a girl back to the yurt?
No, 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 no.
All
God is my witness. I never brought a girl to the. I never brought anybody to the farm. I was just thinking
right,
like,
all right, fair enough.
no, 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 not like that. Goodness gracious, that came off wrong. No,
All
I
right,
see.
all right.
At that time, I was like, I'm isolating myself. I was, in a relationship for a while, and life was just like, refiguring things out. So, no, at that farm, it was me, myself, and I chilled. Sometimes the
They can
town,
catch up with you now in your new place.
right? They can come now, but it's like it's got to be the
Yeah,
right person. It's got to be the right one. It's gotta be the
right.
right one. So, that's funny. Speaks with
Hell
you.
yeah. Well, okay, just to wrap this one up. So what do you actually sorry, before I forget this thought, you what you just said about like, how once you become a billionaire, whatever you're gonna become, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, achieve all your dreams and stuff, that you can't be who you were back in the day. And that was I heard you say in like a pre-fight interview or something that how did you say it? You were um like you want to make sure that when you do become champion, for example, that you're not like, because a lot of people say like, oh, I can't wait till I'm champion, I'm going to switch up, I'm going to be so different, think my life is going to be different. But you said something that like stuck with me, which was like, when you become champion, you want to remain the same, you don't have any plans on like switching up.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I wanna be authentically who I am. Like I want my life to change where, at the drop of a hat, like whatever I want to do, I could build and develop property. And there's this commercial side, and there's malls, there's this stuff, and I'm making $100 billion a month. Great. At the same time, I want to be able to talk to the everyday person. I want to let people know, like when they meet me and they see me, they're comfortable enough based on how I carry myself. That they know, like I'm gonna talk about my faith, talk about God, thank him, love him. I'm gonna still hold the doors open for like a lady when she walks in. The day that I do get married, my wife will know that, like, even though you see me on TV and all this stuff like that, like I care about her as my best friend, whoever that may be. That the day like I have kids, like they'll be like, man, that's the best dad ever, and they're gonna use me as an example to be how they treat their husbands or their wives, um, and that they know they can still talk to me. My teammates know that, man, this guy's the greatest. This guy's done it. He's doing what he needs to do. At the same time, they know I'll be there for them for training camps. They know I'll be there for them for their fights. My coaches can respect me and say that guy grinds and he works and he challenges himself to get better. He still shows up. He still comes back to the gym. Even after the 20th title defense retention next season, become like the figurehead, the face of PFL, like that time when, remember when the UFC merged and became Bot Strike Force, and then the UFC all of a sudden like took off, and other fighters like Robbie Lawler and others from great to, like, when they see them, they're like, wow, I really respect that guy, like. But he's still a killer in the cage. He's still a killer in business. He's doing amazing. At the same time, he'll still help somebody on the side of the street and love them. And that's where I want to be, and that's where I'm taking myself in direction. Still, like I want to volunteer at church, be in a group, like all that. I don't want to like not like change. Like I want to grow, like grow into better, but I want the better part of me to grow too. And anything that I struggle with now, I want it to dissipate. I want it to go away. I want it to be like, not act like I'm perfect because I'm not. I want it to be something where I can still love people. Not anything like that's like glaring that's going on, but it's more like, how do I make myself better no matter what? And how do I
right.
grow? So, business wise, life wise, adventure wise, love life, whatever, like that. That's where I want that to change always for the better. But I want people to think, wow, this guy's this mighty champion, and he's a, for lack of a better word, an asshole. I don't want that at all. I want to be like,
Yeah.
you talk to me like, oh hey, how'd your fight go? And let's say it's title fight 17, claim that victory, undefeated, all these finishes in a row, and they're like, I won, and I'm grateful. Like, wait, but you won like this, and it's like, why don't you talk
Yeah.
about it? I don't want to boast in myself. I just want to talk about what God's done for me, and then if they want to talk about fighting, I'll talk about it all day. But I just don't want people to think my only identity is in being in the cage and being that. I want to be the best man.
Okay.
Now, you know.
Yeah, I think that was a great one. And I'll be honest, even me, before I heard you say that, like sometimes I'll be thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, when I get this money, I'm gonna, got all these plans. But I think that one sent me back where I was like, you know what? No, you gotta stay down. Change for the better, obviously, but
Yeah,
at the same time, be the same guy. Because I don't know, just something that stuck with me that you said. So figured
no,
I'd let you
I
know that.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. And what I
Yeah.
say too is like, it's not that you can't go get the Bugatti. It's not that you can't go get that
Right. Right.
Ferrari.
Right. Right.
It's like, but when you have that, like, let's say little kids walking by and they're like, wow, they never thought they'd see one. Put them in it. Let them sit down.
Yeah.
Like, let them, if they spill the drink in the car, be like, it's okay. Like, they're looking at you like,
Seriously. Yeah.
it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But this, I couldn't have the kid. The seat in the Bugatti costs more than somebody's house. Like,
Yeah.
so put that in perspective and be grateful. And then it's like, at the same time, still know you're that guy. Like, know you're that person doing it. But when you're that guy, show everybody else that they can be that guy too, or that girl, that woman. Like let them realize like, wow, like that person's that's the one right there. But
Right.
do that, and like it's real, like, yeah, like get your stuff when it comes to it. Man, when I get that time, you'll get it, because you had to get, you owe it, in a way you do owe it to yourself, and like, oh, that, like, man, look what God has done through the fruits of your labor. But still be loving enough just to show love.
Yeah, make yourself available to, I guess, your loved ones too, because you obviously get more busy. But
Right.
that kind of thing, I think, is what you're talking about.
100%.
So last serious thing, and then if you have time, I'll ask you a couple fun ones. But if not, no worries.
Sure.
But last serious one, what are you gonna do? First plan, I guess, when you win that $1 million, is there something that you've kind of been waiting to do with the money or anything like that?
Well, the first thing I'm gonna do is like, be grateful, thank God, and it'll come this victory, all that. But it's like that. So the night before is Thanksgiving, so we'll do like a big Thanksgiving team dinner of people I love, and friends, family, training partners who are there, that the selected crew. Then the next day, like, I'm gonna have that bell, do whatever media I need to do, and I'm gonna get a motorcycle ride. My parents are gonna follow me in an RV, and wherever it is, we're gonna drive. Whether it's New York City, it's in California, I don't care. I'm getting on a motorcycle, and I'm riding to North Carolina. Stop, hang out with my family, my sister, go see my brother in Tennessee on a motorcycle, and then I'm gonna ride down to South Florida, and then I'll chill, unpack, and get right back to training. I'd like to buy. It's like if it's for myself, yeah, I want to take care of my parents. Help them out, my coaches and all that stuff. So the money will definitely go there.
Yeah.
Me personally, a new motorcycle and a shotgun. Like
Okay.
that's what I want. And then like my mom always told me, she's like, it doesn't really mean much if you don't help other people. So I want to figure out a way I can really start as if it's a charity or do an event. But it has to be something that where it goes like to help other people who just don't have it all, who don't have it all yet. So I'm not saying less fortunate, because maybe they are fortunate in other ways, but help people in a way that they can maybe advance their life, whether it's school, Christmas gifts, medical supplies. I don't know, but I with Live Wealth, I'll talk to them how we can set it up and do like the best 501(c) or a community charity event that can help them, and the rest will go to investments and saving. But I got to do my tithe, my offering, thank God, and like, I'll probably buy some new training gear because I'm gonna be right back to it. So that's really about it. And like, I got
Okay. Hell yeah.
many more championships to claim.
Okay. So probably nice little road trip, but probably the best thing about that is you don't got to worry about money at all. So you could eat where you want on that road trip,
For sure.
drive wherever you want. Yeah, that should be sick.
I found the best barbecue spots and like treat my parents to some
Get the
cool
biggest plate. Yeah, why not?
Right, yeah, treat my parents to some cool
Yeah.
hotels, like whatever. Like on the way, every time we stop, put my parents like in a really solid hotel. That'd be fun.
Yeah. That'd be tight. That'd be tight. And then you got to document that too, so people can kind of see like, what you're up to after that.
Oh, for sure.
You got like 5 minutes for any
Yeah, let's
fun
go.
questions at all?
For
Okay,
sure.
let's do it. Let's do it. All right. One on the top of my mind, Musk versus Zuckerberg. You think that's going to happen?
It seems like it's developing, but it's gonna be on I think Zuckerberg's platform. I think it's interesting.
Mhm.
Like, I respect them. Like, I like that it brings awareness to what we do. At the same time, like, they're excellent at what they do too. So if they're gonna do it with excellence, great. But I just don't. I hope that it elevates the fighting community, because I don't want us to be seen as a ploy or a joke. You don't just go randomly
Yeah.
do like a NFL football game with executives. They look stupid. Like. So if they're
Yeah.
not gonna, I hope there's respect to the fighters, because people can go get in a fight, but they're not warriors. So
As long as they respect the art, then.
yeah, truly.
Okay. Do you think it goes down?
Yes, I think it does. I think
You
it goes
do?
down.
Okay. I mean, I hope it goes down. That'd be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
All the hype around it. They're saying it's going to be the biggest fight ever, so I'd like to see if it is.
Yeah, we'll see. But of course, yeah, they'll bring in a crowd. But I think it'll be the biggest show ever, more than a fight.
Yeah. And then another good one for you, Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. What were your takeaways from that? Did you watch that at all?
I didn't watch it. I thought Jake would have
Okay.
won though, because I think Nate plays too much.
Yeah.
Nate plays too much with everything. That was my thing with him as a fighter. Of course, he's super skilled. He has his things, but he makes it too much of a show too. So they're passing him to fight, and Jake invested in himself. He got after him. He has fought as much as Nate Diaz wants to joke around and make a play out of it. Jake was trying to crack him, and I can respect it. So that's what I thought. I saw some highlights, and that's about it. But good on Jake Paul.
Yeah, I think it's crazy how like Jake had the well, you know, like in the UFC, right? Nate, he's always like taking these breaks. And the best fighters in the world just let him take these breaks. And then one time boxing Jake Paul, he tries that shit, and then Jake just rushes him. It's like,
Did he?
How the hell does Jake do that, but you guys haven't?
Like the other guys just got punked.
They admire him. I think it's a respect thing, like mental, you know. Sometimes it might be hard to, I don't know what it is, but all right. And one other interesting one is two more for you, and we'll get you out of here. Wonder Boy not getting paid. How did you have any feelings about that at all? That's kind of controversial right now.
I heard that he did get paid on the outside of it, but it's like they made it.
Yeah.
He made his whole show money. Wonder Boy to me has always been a solid one. So it's like a personal bias, I guess you could say, that I think why not pay the guy? I really think it would look good. Another guy misses weight, you turn it down. Like I get that he lost the fight, so it's like two because how I think for me, I can speak for myself. That guy misses weight by 3 pounds, like I'm in there. Whatever. Let's go. He misses by 10. I'm still fighting. I get that Wonder Boy lost a fight before where the guy was a few pounds over, so maybe he's a little like not able to deal with that. But I think he's solid enough. He can still beat him. So I get the UFC's stance on it too. But man, I would have loved to see him get paid just because you already show up for like you show and you win. So I don't know if Wonder Boy, but the thing is too, I don't know if Wonder Boy's a flat rate. So even if it's show money, if his show money is his flat, if it is his win money, so he don't want half of it. So that would make sense. But being a fighter, like that could be done better, right? There's a lawsuit, I guess, versus the UFC now that says they're able to like monopolize things and decrease fighter pay stats more. So I mean, I'm pretty sure other businesses do that too. And they are being a business at the same time. It's like you have to have a heart. So I think they should have paid him when that's all said and done because he went through the camp, he did his job, he showed he was professional, was on weight. It's probably in his contract, but who knows?
Yeah, right. It's interesting. It seems to be the contract. They don't have their backs fully covered in there. But one point Ariel made that I thought was interesting because at first I was like, all right, like Dana's kind of right. I mean, maybe not like the full 250K, but I guess maybe like at least compensating for his training camp. But Ariel said that like this money was already accounted for, meaning like they already accounted to not have the money anyway. So like it's kind of, you know, it's like a free roll and then they just get their money back when they already accounted for it to not be in there and they were still going to turn a profit. So do you have any thoughts on that?
I see that makes a good point. I mean, Ariel always puts up a great argument, and I think that being a fighter, it's like, what? This guy missed weight, it was his fault? Like, Ariel, I mean, I know that Wonder was down to fight. He was going to just pull out the fight, so they should have paid him. Yeah, for sure. Like,
I guess they did come out on top regardless because they don't have to pay Pereira or the win money to Thompson. So technically they would have still come out on top, but that's like Ariel's point. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So they still save 3/4 of it, or whatever the 3/4 of it, split it down the middle, but split it properly or evenly. But this is stupid though. Like that's it's a show of it too. I think they make a show out of that way. They can say whatever.
I guess it's something though to like maybe try to learn from. So future fighters who even you're in relationships with, you can kind of give them advice and be like, hey, make sure certain things are covered in your contract because now it's coming to light. Okay. You can answer me quickly, but I just want to ask you two. So I said two already, but
you're fine.
Okay, Sterling versus O'Malley. That's next weekend. You looking forward to that one at all?
Yeah, I think Sterling.
Well,
I mean, O'Malley can sharpshoot him, but I think that Sterling gets. He's been on a tear he's finding ways to win. He might hold him down the entire fight. He might even try to stand, but I think he'll possibly get O'Malley.
How does it go down? You think it's going to be a long fight, quick fight?
I think it's gonna be a long fight because I don't think O'Malley's a chump on the ground. I think it's just Sterling keeps finding ways to get on guys' backs and pressure them, and we'll see. I know Sterling could maybe take notes from the Jan O'Malley fight, and I think he maybe either gets a finish late, maybe in the fourth or something, or he goes to a decision. I could see it being a split decision, but if it goes split decision, I'm calling that it goes to O'Malley.
Okay, split decision. You're going to think it goes to O'Malley.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that one, man. I think people really underestimate O'Malley. But that guy takes his career so serious, looking at how he studies sleep, nutrition, like everything.
Yeah.
So
he's got a great team.
Yeah, it's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, he's got a couple people running, so I'll see.
Yeah, and then Aljo gives me good vibes, dude. Like seeing his open workouts and shit. That's like Floyd Mayweather boxing vibes before his fights. I wish more fighters would do that.
Yeah, he's cool. He does his thing.
Yeah, that'd be fucking sick. Maybe even like for you or something like that in the future to think about if you want to hold an open workout.
Exactly what I was just thinking about when you said that too.
Yeah, I'd come down. Just make it open to everyone. I'll come down for sure.
Yeah, I would do that. I would do that for sure.
Okay.
I see what my coach said. My coach might be like, no. But,
I know. He's like, hey, gym's too popular. Everyone's going to come down here.
My coach says yes, I'm in. But if he says no, I'm like, sorry, yes.
Okay, fair enough. Last one. I read this one. Super interesting to me. So you started to basically, just to give you a little preface, the Joaquin Buckley knockout. UFC was always posting it. It's pretty viral. Yeah. But it's you saved those posts after a while because you would always get tagged in it and stuff. So you saved it. And then I guess there's like a message you would tell yourself or something like that.
Yeah, I said this. I said, if this is what you're referring to, I said,
yeah,
play that highlight all you want, but the damn world champion play that highlight too.
Right.
We're here now.
So what was the purpose behind like saving each one? Sounds like you're causing yourself more trouble.
Well, it never bothered me. So there's no trouble.
Okay.
So okay. It's more like people want to say negative things, people want to share the UFC wants to post. It's like it was a good reminder of anything. Like Peter in the Bible talks about like, God, remove this thorn, remove this thorn, remove this thorn. He's like, no, that's how you can focus on me. So when I focus on Christ through that, I'm like, that's not my validation. The Buckley fight, it was a battle that I lost, but it wasn't the war. And man, like when I get that title this year, and many more, it's gonna be like it was worth it. So it never bothered me. It's like, okay, cool. Like I watched it, and I've watched it, and I've watched it. I believe it's made me better. So I saved it because it's like something that. What people might see that's so grand in this, I'm like, so I know it shows that I'm different, and it shows that like when my time comes to go claim this title, I'm ready. So
okay, I respect that. Like a little bit of comfort in like the chaos, if you will, something like that.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate the time. You gave me a ton of your time, so really appreciate it. Looking forward to your fight as well. Maybe we can have a conversation after too.
Sure.
But good luck in training and all that up until that point.
Awesome. We definitely will. Thank you so much.
All right. No worries, Impa. Nice to meet you, man, and have a great day.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me on.